Welcome to CyberCEO, wherein we talk about how our Cyberbackers helped our CyberCEOs take their businesses to the next level. CyberCEO is powered by Cyberbacker, the world's leading provider of admin support services from anywhere in the world to anyone in the world. Please visit our website www.cyberbacker.com for more details. Another awesome day here at Cyberbacker. My name is Jello. I'm back with another episode of CyberCEO. We are very lucky to have another special guest on the show right now. Chris, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing great. The weather's beautiful and business is good. So,
Wow, that's great to hear. Thank you very much for giving us your time. We know you're very, very busy. So, for the benefit of everyone who's listening and watching, can you tell us something about yourself, Chris?
well, I'm not as busy as people make me out to be. I'll tell you that right away. So I am I'm a MAPS coach here with the Keller-Williams Systems. I am an investor in a couple of different market centers. And I own a property management business where we manage over 700 properties in and around the Kansas City area.
Wow, so a maps coach. I know for a fact that not all of our listeners might be familiar of what a maps coach does. So please, Chris, if you may, can you help us out here? What does your day look like? What does a maps coach do?
Well, so MAP stands for Mega Agent Production Systems, and so productivity systems. And so I actually work with the leadership of Keller Williams. So the people that run the different offices, I help them develop their systems and their mindset and their profitability, quite frankly. That's kind of what I do is I work with them. I used to run a Keller Williams franchise and somebody said, "Hey, you seem to be fairly good at this. Would you work with other people?" So that's just how I got
Wow.
here.
So mostly then you talk to a lot of very growth-minded people. Is that right?
I do, yes.
Help them grow. Just a quick question for you, Chris. How would you describe your coaching style? Because there are a lot of different styles in how you would coach different kinds of people, right? So how would you describe your coaching style, Chris?
Well, I've been told I'm very direct.
Very
so,
direct.
so I'm if you know anything about the disc profile system, I'm a very high D, and my I struggles a little bit more, and my S, but I have a very high C. So to me, if you're a team leader, and that's the position I coach in Keller Williams, and I do coach a lot of property managers as well, and that kind of thing. But if you're the person in a company that's supposed to make that company move forward, then let's get started. And so my style tends to be more direct, and you either got the result or you didn't get the result. I'm not talking about blame, but you did or you didn't. How are we going to make sure that we do?
Of course, of course. Thanks for that, Chris. Now, by the way, I forgot to ask, how long have you been in the real estate industry?
Since 2002.
Wow, 2002 going on 20 years next year. Is that right?
Yep. Yep.
Yes. Now, prior to having your own cyberbackers there, working with you in your business, was this your first time working with people virtually?
Yeah, yes, absolutely it was. And quite frankly, I was never a big fan of possibility of doing that. Um, but I was never a fan of hiring my first employee either. I was terrified. Would I make enough money? Would it, and all these different kinds of things. But the book says to do it.
Yes,
The
yes.
E-Myth says to do it, and so I took it out on faith, and I just looked for the best person I could hire in another business that I owned on the side of real estate, and uh, it changed my life. And later on, when we were growing faster than we know what to do with, we don't really advertise. It's all word of mouth, and because of good service, the you know we needed some help, but I wasn't ready to make another full-time investment in a local worker. And so I reached out to Cyberbacker, and we went through the interviewing process. And I took the person that wasn't necessarily the highest recommended, just based on my experience and gut and looking behind the little reports you guys send. And I took Camille, and Camille has been fantastic. She's integrated into the team, and the staff loves her.
Right. Now, for now, again, you have two cyberbacks. What can you tell me about them? Camille and Angelica, personality-wise, the days you work together, things like that.
Sure. Well, let's be very clear here. I have worked myself out of the job mostly. My job in the property management business, which is where the two of those work. Um, I'm like 4 to 5 hours a week as far as maybe a supervisory role on that. And it's a very good business. So my interactions were more with Camille, especially at first, working with her. I thought I might have her do some things for me with maps, but very quickly, she showed us how good she was, how competent she was, how personable she was, and how eager she was to do a great job. And so I just kind of ended up giving her to the property management company. And she has done a bang up job, and the staff just loves her. And then we were looking to hire again. I ended up hiring 2 more local people, and then we still needed somebody else. So that's when we asked Camille about setting up another interview, and that's how we got Angel on board. And so my interactions with them, I see them on the team meetings that we do on Thursday mornings. I see their 1-3-5s for the day on the emails, and I see what they've accomplished that day, but I don't talk to him as much as I probably should, because Jimmy, the guy that runs our company, he's the main source of contact.
Okay, gotcha. Now, as you mentioned, this was your first time hiring virtually, right? Now,
Mhm.
it is a virtual relationship. What we'd like to know more of is what makes this virtual relationship work? What makes it a successful partnership, Chris?
Well, I think like anytime you're hiring, you're looking for a person that not only seems to have the skills and abilities, but seems to fit the culture that you're trying to have at your office. Um, and I think that can't be, so you can't just hire somebody and throw them into work. Like you can't just like here's 6 inches worth of work, go do this. Not only do you want to teach them what you want them to do, but you need to take the time and teach them why you want them to do it. What's the purpose here? What are our standards and how we work together, and what are our standards and how we work to the benefit of our clients and our customers? And so I recommend to anybody hiring locally, and especially cyberly, you better make sure that people understand what they're doing, yes, but just as importantly, or more importantly, understand why they're doing it.
It's not just the what and how. We must also understand the why, of course, for them to be able to understand the process fully. Am I right?
Yeah, both of the young ladies that work for our organization live in the Philippines.
Mm.
I mean,
Yes.
what kind of connection do you naturally have? You don't. You need to figure out, do they fit the culture that you're having, and help them understand what it is we're really trying to do. It's not just do this report.
Yes.
This report means somebody's retirement, or this report is actually somebody's home that they raise their kids, where they fight, where they make love, where they do all of these different things. So it's not just a late tenant. It's a tenant that needs to figure out a way to stay in their home, sort of a situation.
Yes, definitely. Now, just to dive into that a bit more, what do you have your cyberbackers do for the business? Because, of course, there are a lot of business owners listening right now, but they don't really know how to take advantage of what a cyberbacker can do. So, what are these tasks that you have your cyberbackers do for you and your business?
Well, it evolves over time based on what they show us they can do, right?
Yes.
So when Camille first came on, I spent quite a bit of time with her, talking about what we do and how we do it and why we do it. And then we started just giving her little jobs, and she would tell me, okay, I'm done. What else you got? What else you got? What else you got? So we just kept adding on to it. Today, she is a huge part, and so is Angel, a huge part of answering our phones, making sure that those phone calls get to where they're supposed to be going, um, handling a lot of the inquiries we have. We get hundreds of inquiries a week about, is this house still for rent, or what does it take to get this house rented, or what's the process for getting the house rented? And they're able to take a lot of those things off of the plate of our leasing director and our main administrative person, because they can be the filter. Like they can take care of these 9 people, but the 10th one, they can send it to the person that needs to be able to handle it. And that just saves my local staff so much time and trouble and mind space and just whatever. So just being able to take all of those busy items off of their plate has paid huge dividends for our staff.
Right, that's good to know. Now, my next question is still something related to the things that they are going to do, but what are some of the tasks that you're considering or thinking about having your cyberbackers do in the future? Because I know you've already been with your cyberbackers for a while now, but their role could still grow, right? So what are these new tasks that you're thinking about?
Well, so much of what we do in property management doesn't have to be done in the office. In fact, I seldom see my employees in the office. They're never there. They're out and about doing
Yes.
wherever they are. what's nice is that if Ashley's going through the middle of the day, she can just pop Camille an email or whatever, a text or even a phone call and just let them know, hey, I need you to do this or I need you to do that. With Camille, she's been with us, gosh, is it 18 months or 2 years now? I'm not even exactly sure. But she has won my trust. And if I just need something, I just pop her an email and she gets it done. She's also, frankly, supervising Angel. So when Jimmy needs something from Angel, it can go through Camille and Camille can take care of that. And I just trust Camille to make sure that it gets done. The other thing is we've also split the hours. So for a while, they worked at the same hour so they could talk and communicate and make sure that Angel was coming on board with our culture. And then after a while, we allowed Camille to start working later in the day for us, but more regular business hours for them in the Philippines, because what it did is it created twice the coverage for us. So the phones are now being answered from 8 o'clock in the morning US to about 8 o'clock in the evening US instead of all these other kinds of things. So we look for ways to make it win-win for the ladies, and we also look for ways to make it win-win for us. So there's, as far as where they're going next, as our company continues to grow, I have no problems with giving them the administrative things that can be done anywhere. They've both proven their competency.
Of course, that must be very exciting for them because that means more things for them to do. That would be growth for them and growth for you in your business. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. And these girls work hard. I mean, they and to some degree, you guys have trained them to be far more purposeful in their communication over what they will do, what they did do, and along the ways than I've even trained my own staff here. So it's nice to get those reports at the beginning and the end of each day.
Of course, just for you to know what they're going to do today and what they have accomplished.
Yes, because I can't see it
Yes.
as well, right? Because listen, again, I'm only in my business 4 to 5 hours a week, so I'm like a lot of owners now. I work through the people that I've hired to structure the company. So if you ask me how to do some of these things, I'm clueless, and I don't mind saying that. But hiring the right people and making sure they're fairly compensated, that'd be another thing I would say. Don't be afraid to give your cyberbackers bonuses. When they do a good job, give them bonuses. And not only do they deserve it, but they also become more and more eager to do a good job. So
Yes,
anyway.
definitely. That's true. That's true, Chris. Now, my next question is a bit tough. What have been some of the challenges that you've had working with Cyberbacker, or let's say opportunities for growth?
Okay. Well, I would say that the two biggest challenges are sometimes just not being able to personally connect. I mean, how many people aren't zoomed out by now? I mean,
Yes.
enough of the Zoom already, enough of all this nonsense. And yet the realities of the situation are, as a company, there are some things that I can quote unquote save money on by having it offshored. And these people do a very good job. The biggest challenge that we still run into, especially here in the Kansas City area, is sometimes there's a language barrier. There's an accent barrier. And so I'm very cognizant of that when I'm hiring. And listen, that's not the ladies' fault. They speak far better English than I'm ever going to speak any second language. Okay. So I'm not upset with them in any way, shape, or form. It's just the reality of our area here in Kansas City. We don't hear a lot of different accents. And so sometimes our tenants get frustrated and because maybe they don't get a lot of exposure to other things. When I lived in Washington, D.C., when I go to the coast on a regular basis, we hear lots of accents in those places. But here in Kansas City, sometimes that can become a barrier.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha. But how did you overcome that with your cyberbackers? That specific challenge?
Um, we just say if you can sense that somebody's getting frustrated or whatever, just say, I'm so sorry, we're not communicating, and we'll transfer it to Tasha or Ashley or whoever's appropriate. Okay. It's really not complicated, and it's not a lot. I don't want to make this seem like a bigger deal, but let's face it, some people in the world are not necessarily up to snuff when it comes to politeness and understanding and
Yes.
those kinds of things.
Now, one last thing, Chris. What advice would you be able to give other business owners like yourself who are listening to us right now when they're hiring their own cyberbacker?
Go through the process. I think you guys do an excellent job of running the career visioning process. You know, that you'll get reports on the different folks. You'll get a chance to meet, 4 or 5 different people. You get to meet 4 or 5 different people on Zoom. Then you get to kind of narrow it down. Then you get to pick one and those kinds of things. Go through the process. Read the reports, you know, so because they'll give you insight, but that's not all there is to a human being. Look them in the eye, listen to them. I like to ask fun questions, and you know, you guys obviously prep them really well how to answer some of the questions, but when I ask them what they like to do for fun or give me some examples, sometimes it throws them a little bit off the thing, because you want somebody that has a full life. I would also say this, because I coach a lot of people that also have cyberbackers, sometimes it doesn't work. So sometimes you might go through the whole process and you hire David, just say David.
Yes.
And it's 30 days in, it's 60 days in, it's 90 days in, and it's still a struggle. Well, before you decide that hiring a virtual assistant doesn't work, why don't you just go back to Cyberbacker and say, this isn't working. Maybe David would be really good with somebody else. Go find the person that you can work with and you connect with. Because if you don't like talking to somebody, you're probably not going to invest in them the way they need you to invest in them so that they can give you back what you're hoping for. So don't be afraid to reach back out to Cyberbacker and say, this isn't working. How can we find a person that will work for me? And hopefully David will go find somebody that he can work with and succeed there. That's what I would say.
Because again, in this type of a relationship, it's a two-way street, right? Again, from our cyber CEOs and from our cyberbackers for this to eventually work. And it also takes time. Don't you agree?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. One last thing, Chris. I know that your cyberbackers, Camille and Angel, are listening to us right now. Would you want to give them a quick shout out on the show?
Yes, I would like to thank them for everything that they do for the office. I mean, it is imperative to me that we treat our customers and our clients, our tenants and our owners, that we treat them with the utmost respect and urgency and care. And they do a great job with that. And like I said, the staff is very happy with them. And that comes from an attitude that you can't necessarily teach. And so I want to thank those ladies for that.
Of course, we are very excited to see where this partnership with Cyberbacker and both Camille and Angel would be in the next few years to come. Chris, thank you very much for being on the show today.
Thank you for listening to our daily dose of CyberCEO. Stay tuned to know more about how Cyberbacker creates a difference in this digital time and age. For more details, please visit our website www.cyberbacker.com or follow us on Facebook, Cyberbacker Inc.